Count us in, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to our Sun Tour preview. My name is David Hunter and I'm joined by Taylor Gunman of Madison Genesis. Hi Taylor.
Morning, how are you? Morning for me.
Yeah,
for you
night
guys.
for me, yeah. How's it going?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We just been away camping, so a day back at home before I'm over for Sun Tour. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, when did you fly over, I presume, yeah?
Yeah, fly over Tuesday morning, crack of dawn, well before the dawn even starts, to be honest. But hey, it's get over there early, settle in, and go for a ride before the tour starts.
Fantastic. We'll get to the Sun Tour in a little bit. First of all, obviously you've been back home in New Zealand over the British winter, European winter. How has it been for you?
It's been good. I had a nice fair break after Tour of Britain, which was good. The body definitely needed it. The main concern was the meniscus damage done in my right knee, and I didn't want to be one of those knee guys. You always had to pull out of a race because of a knee. So the main focus of the whole summer has actually been strengthening and getting over this meniscus damage, which can only be fixed in two ways, which is rest or surgery. And I don't want to go down the surgery path, so it's been a very slow process getting back into it. But it's cliche, but it's been a lot of gym work. It's been a lot of basics, simple stuff that works off, which pays off, and it's all come right finally.
Yeah, you see a lot of that, especially recently, riders who are taking to the gym more and more as a kind of preventative measure. Is that something that you've done yourself all the time, or fairly recent?
It's really interesting. I've built into it more so this season than ever. Mike Northey had to stop racing due to his heart problem. And as he started talking to the sports doctor, cyclists get big hearts, or endurance athletes get a lot of big hearts. And, the gym work actually helps the heart grow stronger by pushing more blood in a more dynamic way, I guess, would be the most simplest way to explain it. And so it's not also just for making you stronger, it's for making your body healthier. So, endurance athletes overwork their hearts in a less positive way, but then the weight, of course, balances it out and strengthens the volume of blood being pumped around. So it's a bigger picture, I guess, would be the better way of saying it.
How often would you go to the gym in a week?
I think I'm going 4 times a week, and if I can go more, I go more. But then, my priority is the bike riding. So if I'm feeling a bit off one day or something like that, it is the first thing to put aside. It's a mile down the road for myself, so it's pretty easy to just even go down and spend some time on the mat stretching and using the recovery weights, as it were. So yeah.
2016, obviously, you moved over from New Zealand to Britain to ride for Madison Genesis. How did you think the year went for you?
The biggest thing I felt like I just didn't have the impact that I wanted. I think that was my personal disappointment, but it's also been my fire for this coming season. I really enjoyed it, but I also had to learn to race a whole new style. I think I've been thinking about it recently while training. I think the most defining moment for me, which I now look back on, was probably the Isle of Man when we had the Manx International race there. And coming from a very structured kind of racing with Avanti, team versus team, right, domestic, stage winner, everyone had clear roles. We were going up the climb out of Ramsey, and I thought I could just ride tempo and ride pace and control the race as I've done in the past. But, the UK riders, they love a good attack. They love to race with, a bit of panache. It's an awesome scene for racing, and you can't just muscle your way to victory. You have to be a smart, strong, aggressive bike rider, and I think that's why I'm so excited about this coming season. There's a lot that can happen. You can race for it.
You think you've kind of almost had to earn earn your right. You've come over from New Zealand and, a successful cyclist, obviously you've former TT champion of your country, but still having to almost earn the right to ride in Britain?
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge part of it. And Madison Genesis had two dominating Kiwis, Tom Scully, who's now world tour, and Mike Northey, who's actually unfortunately had to retire from his heart. So these guys they're no slugs, and they are some of New Zealand's talented bike riders. So it's also I almost feel I have to fill their shoes, or they've set a very high standard of Kiwis. So we all have our own different strengths and weaknesses, and the UK scene and the criterium scene especially suited those guys well. But yeah, I'm my own rider and I'll have my own strengths, but these guys rock the UK, and naturally I want to do the same. You've got to have that competitive nature, or else I'm in the wrong sport.
We see it on the TV when we watch, particularly Tour of Yorkshire, Tour of Britain. The British local teams seem to have a huge rivalry. I suppose riding for Madison, those two races are the big focus for the year.
Yeah, exactly. Personally, I'd love to return back to Britain a year wiser and stronger, and again, my own style. I've throughout my career up to this point, I've had a trait where the first tour I've gone to, I've kind of bombed or got my head kicked in a bit, and I've come back the next year a lot stronger and wiser, and actually performed and produced a result. And so that'll be the main focus for me. I know specifically how to train for Yorkshire. I know what to expect out of Tour of Britain now too. So those are the advantages I now have this year that I didn't have last year, and they were all quite a big learning curve quite quickly for me.
What's the other races like Anpos Ras or Normandy? They seem really tough.
Yeah, I think I've been selling Normandy to a lot of the Kiwis as Tour of Southland in March, so it's hard weather, it's a lot of gutter action, it's a lot of fighting for just fighting to hold position because everyone's nervous. Normandy has a lot of quality riders there. It's their first real race for Madison. It's going to be our first real race as well of the season, 20th of March. But all these first races, you want to try and get runs on the board early, as it were. So that's why Normandy's always hard. The Russ, it was quite funny with the British teams there. We're taken out of the UK, so that rivalry kind of disappears, and we're all mates on the start line. And the joke was, even with the Aussie guys that were there this year, it's the Russ is 7 one-day classics. That's how it's raced. It's full gas. The local riders, they deserve to be there, and it's just chaos, the same stress. It's quite a draining tour, to be honest, but that's bike racing, and I don't know, you hear a lot of UK riders go, I don't want to do the Ras, but deep down inside, I think there's a lot of guys who do love that chaos. They like to go along because it's quite a relaxed tour. You do race hard, the results mean something, but then also you're at the finish line and then you're enjoying yourself, and maybe if you're allowed a sneaky Guinness or something like that. So they're good races for sure.
One thing that's kind of topical just now is, after Two Down Under, is potential burnout of Southern Hemisphere athletes who obviously some start the season really fast, say like Caleb Ewan, and then there is that worry of the kind of mid-season bomb. Obviously yourself, there is potential to race a lot over your summer, your winter. How do you manage your kind of efforts now to prepare for the season and not go too fast too soon?
Yeah, it is definitely a hard one. I'm sitting here right now. You go on sites like Strava and it does my head in sometimes, because a lot of the Australian guys or guys running for Australian teams racing New Zealand Cycle Classic and be at these other races, even New Zealand Nationals. I have this feeling of missing out, but my job is with Madison. I'm really starting to step up my training quite significantly now. But that's the thing. You've got to. Well, for me, my job's for medicine. The Sun Tour race is by chance and an opportunity you can't pass up. But I have to perform from May all the way to September for medicine. From March all the way to September if I want to be a bike rider for medicine for the coming season. So you can get carried away here, and it's unless you're in a well-structured team like Caleb Ewan. Yes, he's going hot now, but you have to have a respect for a lot of these teams now and the bigger calendar. This is all part of their plan, I believe. They want Caleb to do well in Australia because it's good for them and the media. You'll probably find he'll go quite quiet, say after Milan, Sanremo, or these bigger events that he's targeted, because they'll give him that chance to rest and then maybe build up for the second half. And I think that's what you're starting to see from out of the World Tour teams, is these guys is really starting to respect, or the coaches and the teams are really starting to actually respect the athletes and their health, because if you give them a rest, say, in the middle part of the year, they'll be better for it at the end of the year, instead of telling them in the old school ways, they say, harden up, get through it. The health of the bike riders, it's good, if you got pros who want to race hard in January, and I think you wouldn't have seen that years ago. They would have been dragging the ball and chain out the door just to race in January. You would have had to really persuade them, but now you've got World Tour teams coming to Australia to set up camp, to stay there for a couple of months at a time, just to better their riders and to better themselves for the coming season, which I think speaks volume about the effort Cycling Australia are actually slowly putting into it all.
Yeah, and you've got, obviously, we had the Tour Down Under, we had the Cadell race yesterday, we've got the Herald Sun Tour coming up. Team Sky are one of those teams you mentioned there who have had training camp. Froome's been over in Australia for a considerable time now already. What does it do for the local scene to have, guys like Froome and Chavez over, kind of treating it serious?
Yeah, I've got mates who live in Sunshine Coast, and there's apparently Froome's been up around Noosa, so for them they're all out riding all the time, and these guys are Australian squad guys and everything like that, and it's creating a lot of attention for Down Under, and just getting down there. Everyone says we're quite lucky that when the winter comes along in the Northern Hemisphere we get to go back home. Now it's actually been looked at in a sense of that winter's coming, time to go to the next summer. It's becoming a real all-year summer sport. And, I think John Herity, you got to give him a lot of respect. He's been doing this for several years, where he's brought his Condor team, or JLT, they're out in Ballarat, and he's been doing it for years. They have a successful season. Adds to our rivalry for sure, but everyone's kind of catching on to something that John's been doing for years, that it's actually worth the investment for the riders to go to where the sun is, pretty much. And if you've got the racing and the structure there, you're almost silly not to.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see next year if they can entice just a couple more teams, even just one more World Tour team. I think would be amazing for the race. On to the race itself, we've got the Sun Tour, 5 stages. You're riding for the New Zealand national team.
Yep.
What's your any particular role within that team?
Look, it's a national team. I think we're all going to reevaluate what we're going to do. James Oram, incredibly competitive at New Zealand Cycle Classic that's just been. Jason Christie's showing hot form at nationals. We got James Fouché, which is a young kid up and coming. He's been really competitive in his junior ranks. We got Hamish Struers, his first year with Cycling Academy. Matt Zenovich is coming across. He's ex-ISOA. He's just an aggressive bike rider, so he's going to be good out there on the course. We did lose Dion to our team. He's now preparing for Volta Argave with Wanty. Mm-hmm. So I think for us personally as a national team, we're going to see how it goes, what we're going to do from the beginning. So I can't really give any insight to us at the moment because we haven't all sat down in the same room yet. But that'll be Tuesday night's job for sure.
We start with a 2 kilometre prologue, which promises to be fast and fairly crazy. How do you even warm up for a kind of 2K prologue? What's the sort of process you go through to prepare for that?
I think that's the funny thing. I believe at the end of the day, you're probably having to do the same warm-up for a 2K race as you are for a 40K time trial. You've got to get the body going. It's all going to hurt either way. So you've just got to stick to what routine you know and get it done. If it's hot, you probably won't have to do too much because you could light too many matches just warming up. So it's realistically just getting the body going. So yeah.
Is it a horrible effort, that 2 kilometre length?
Yeah, I think it's an effort where it's going to hurt the whole way, but like any time trial, you actually feel good for the first 30 seconds, and then you're holding on for dear life for the last minute and a half, and there's going to be a little bit more. It's a technical course, so you get, I wouldn't say you get respite, but you've got to go through a few corners quite hot. To be honest, my personal picks are going to be someone like Ed Clancy or Alex Frame from JLT. They are your track riders. It's their environment. Alex Frame's pretty damn strong as a bike rider, and I raced with him at Tour Southland last year, and he's riding pretty well at the moment in New Zealand Cycle Classic, but it's going to suit those real powerful guys that will get that initial power out. Will Clark he's won it the last 2 years, I think, and it's just those big boy efforts that'll really do well.
And then stage 2 straight away, mountaintop finish, long climb, Falls Creek, 15 kilometres at 4.6%. The last 8.6 is at 5.5%, so that's really kind of going to shape the GC. I presume it's Froome, Chavez, and whoever can hold on.
Yeah, to be honest, I think the first guy you look to is also Lucas Hamilton. All the Aussies are flying. For these guys that aren't in a World Tour team, they need to perform. Anyone, even this is why I'm doing this race, anyone who wants or aspires for more out of cycling, this is your opportunity to perform, because if you do well against these guys, it actually shows the world your pedigree. So Lucas Hamilton's going to be up there. I think Ben Dybel was going to really strike out and show everyone what he's got. The last 5Ks is about 7.5%, and then there's a massive kicker at the end. So it's going to be hard. It's a ski station. It's going to at the top. It's going to look like something out of Europe, to be honest. It's going to be nice, wide, well-paved roads. It'll be fast climb. I just watched Lil Pat Shaw's video clip on it too. And Pat Shaw's no slug as well, but he was doing his display big ring. So it's going to be a fast ride for sure. And you're going to get your genuine GC contenders out of there. If Froome has Haino with him, they're going to be the ones to watch naturally. You've seen them race all season. They like to play off each other. So it's going to create a real good battle, I guess, for everyone, and some good watching.
Definitely. And that will no doubt shape what's going to happen in the next few stages. The next stage, stage 3, again, there's a climb near the end. 7.2 at 5.7%, but the last 3 kilometres is at 8.5%. And then we have about 10 kilometre descent to the line. So you would be imagining whoever is up there on stage 2 is going to be challenging on stage 3.
Yeah, and just over the top of the last King of the Mountain, there's a couple of kickers shortly afterwards, and I think this is going to be the chance for guys who have lost probably outside of that top 10, but close to them. So their GC aspirations are essentially gone, but they're still incredibly strong to be up there. This is their chance to attack, I guess, in the last 10Ks, 5Ks, to actually just go for a stage win. If they're 2 minutes down, there's that minute of indecision if there's not enough team riders left to keep the pace on. This is going to be quite a chaotic finish, I guess, and in the sense that there's going to be enough opportunity for one or two guys to clip off the front towards the end if no one's there to keep the pace on.
Stage 4, the only sprint stage. I'm sure some of the local riders will be sad there's only one sprint stage, but obviously they wanted to entice Froome and Chavez and the mountain boys in. Not an awful lot of sprinters here. Brenton Jones, Danny Van Poppel, Lee Howard, 3 names you would expect to be challenging. Jones obviously was going well early January in the Bay Crits, so I would be expecting him to be up there for his new team.
Yep. Lee Howard, Aaron Gate, 2 more to pull from Aqua Blue. That they want to make an impact on the season too, so they're going to be really up there. It'll be interesting to see who New South Wales, Sydney, who their sprinters are. If it's someone like, say, Scotty Law, they could be very, very strong to have in the finish. But if you go on Herald Sunter and watch their video clips on each stage, led by Pat, it's a really tight technical finish. So I've got notes here. There's a narrow bridge inside the 3K to go. Then 1K to go, you turn into the winery itself. So we finish at the Michelin winery. After that, there's a tight right-hander with 300 metres to go. You're in a vineyard, there's going to be barriers. It's going to be like a crit finish. We won't be going in as a bunch. It's going to have to be strung out to be safe in any breath. But it's going to be tight. It's going to be technical, and fingers crossed there aren't any crashes, but it'll be fast.
It sounds absolutely perfect for a certain lead-out man who's now at United Healthcare, Greg Henderson.
They'll be up there for sure.
I think he's got Travis McCabe, who is a American sprinter who's just signed for the team, who he'll be leading out, but it sounds perfect for Hendo to go in and smash it and string it out for that one.
Yeah, exactly. And you do have the relationship in JLT with guys like Alex Frame. They've been in Ian Bibby, Bibby's a crit star in the UK, so that kind of chaos as we saw in the first round of the Bay Crits, he's all about. So, and it's a good classic Aussie finish in my belief, because after doing a couple of seasons of NRS, a bit of chaos never hurt anyone, just made everything more exciting. So they'll be in the thick of it for sure. And like I said, maybe a well-established team could get it right, but I don't think you're going to have a full-blown team lead out. It'll be chaos. It'll be 1s and 2s going everywhere, and it's going to be pretty much the bravest man will win.
And then we've got the final stage, which is this Kinglake circuit. I think they go over the climb. Is it 3 times? 5K, 4 times. 5K, 5%. Yep. Not the hardest climb in the world, but it's a short stage, and I would imagine it's just going to be full gas from the start.
You find with the Kinglake climb, it's of mythological proportions in Melbourne. It's the climb. There's Brendan Canty versus Joe Cooper. Everyone knows about their Strava battle out there. They're always trying to one-up each other. So, if you find the segment on Strava, you're going to get a close idea of how fast it can go up there. I would be surprised to see if anyone does beat it. It might. Their King of the Mountain could possibly be bet due to the style of racing, but we're talking something that is the pride of Melbourne. So not only is the atmosphere going to probably be pretty damn good, it's going to be a real test. And after that climb, you get to the top of the King of the Mountain, and then the next K or two, you still have another 50 vertical meters to climb, which doesn't sound like a lot, but once you get over that climb and people kind of stop to look and reevaluate each other, again, it opens up another window, like stage into beach, where for someone to attack over the top of if the pace isn't kept on. So, coming into the finish, that last lap, especially the well-structured teams, say Team Sky, if they're going to take it up, it's going to be hard, but you're also going to run the risk of, say, taking Simon Gerrans to the line and opening the door for other guys. So, yeah.
It does look like a type of stage Gerrans would like, and he seemed to be riding a bit better after a poor Tour Down Under yesterday in the Cadell race. He seemed to be, although not right at the front for the Chalamba Crescent climb, he still managed to make it over with a bunch. Okay, I asked you to make some stars up, some favourites. Who have you got as your 1-star riders?
Look, I've gone for a couple of wild cards, to be honest, for 1-stars. Lockie Norris, he's been with Drapac. He's now riding for United Healthcare. It's a home race to him. It's going to be quite important for him. So I think, it's the kind of race that suits him, with only one sprint stage being there. It's that real race of attrition. He's going to fight and he's going to plug away. And if he's trained well in the off season and he's prepared himself well, might be his first race and the first stage might hurt, but he's definitely going to be competitive for sure.
Who else you got? Is that your 1-star?
Sebastian. You've got guys like Sebastian Haino. Like, you saw it last year, I believe, with Team Sky. Kinnock had the jersey for a lot of the race, and through racing situations, Froome was able to take the lead. So Sky have the depth that most teams may not have. I think the only other team that may have the same depth will be the national team, but he'll be the other one.
Yeah. I've got Lucas Hamilton. You've already mentioned him. Not quite kind of done what was maybe expected of him so far. Nationals, he was unlucky because he was heavily marked, and it was always going to be hard for him to win the under-23 title. Tour Down Under, he was outshone by one of his teammates. He did a bit better in the Cadell race yesterday, but for those that watched him in Tour de l'Avenir, he's a sensational talent, and this could be his time to shine. I've also got Nathan Earl, who was brilliant in Nationals, could have won it if he'd maybe been a little bit more patient. And the other one I do like is Scott Bowden, the mountain biker who was in Rio. I think he looks a potential kind of wild card for the race. What about 2 stars?
Yeah, I had personally had Nathan Neal, as 2-star as well. He's going really well. I think one of the strongest teams is going to be the Australian national team. Cam Meyer proves he's riding well. Jai Hindley, amazing climber. Nathan Earl, amazing climber. Lucas Hamilton, amazing climber. These are just the first few guys that I personally know. You're looking across at Iceway, Swiss Wellness. Joe Cooper is on red hot form now. This is the peak of Australian season. Cam Bailey's been riding really well. It was a real shame for him to miss out on a down under spot. Robbie Hucker is also another class talent as well for climbing, and they're all led under Pat Lane, who's a pretty cool under pressure and a good leader on the road. So these Aussie teams, if you were to design a tour for them to give all the big guys a run, this is it. And I think it's going to be worth keeping an eye on them and just not wiping them out. It's like the French at the Tour de France. It's the same for the Aussies at Sun Tour. This is their chance for their small guys to put their names up in the big lights. Yeah,
I've got, for 2 stars, I've got Maya, who obviously was really unlucky yesterday, pipped with about 25 metres to go. I've got Hucker. I think he's a really strong climber. And you were touching on it earlier with Team Sky. They've got a number of strong riders. It kind of really depends if Froome wants to go and win. I've got Kenny Ellisond, who is just a cracking climber. What about the favourites? Who do you think are the big favourites to win?
It was awesome to watch Chavez race down under. I think that was a good thing. Again, this is like I'm saying, the World Tour teams are now really investing their time and their effort into Australia. Green Edge are going to want to win. They've had all the they had good press from Down Under with Caleb Ewan winning 4 stages. And like any team, they've got that confidence. They've got the first wins out of the way. They can really just get that nervousness and pressure out off their chest, and they can race this race for the win. They can maybe let breaks win go. They can let breaks go for the win kind of thing. They're going to have a lot of control over the race because of those kind of situations. So they're a definite danger team. Naturally, Froome, defending champion, he spent a lot of time in Australia, even before Christmas. But I actually did put Hamilton as one of my main GC guys because I just know going up to, say, the ski station, he's going to want to attack. Whether they pay off or he strikes too many matches, I don't know, but he's going to give it everything. I know that. So, and it's his style, which is what everyone I think finds so exciting about Lucas Hamilton. And he's a good bike rider to watch. He's not going to just sit back and let the big boys have their race. He's going to take it to them.
And it would be a great moment for him to go toe to toe with Froome, Chavez. At his age, you don't get many opportunities like that. So hopefully he does ride an attacking race. Obviously, Froome, Chavez, and the one who I'm going to pick out is Hani Acevedo, Colombian rider who rides for United Healthcare, who's kind of bounced around the American scene for a couple of years. Didn't quite work out for him at Cannondale. Really talented climber. Was over for the Cadell race yesterday. Actually did quite well. So it indicates he's got good legs. I hope to see him up there. He certainly has the climbing capability to challenge the big riders for this race. So if you had to choose one of them, who's going to win?
Oh, Chavez. Chavez, to be honest, he just the way he's ridden Tour Down Under, Willunga, and stuff like that, it's going to be, he's going to be a bit of a hard man to go look past. If he's climbing this well in January, everyone else is going to have to really be on their A game to turn up. And again, they've also got Simon Gerrans there. They've kind of got the same card as Team Sky. They've got somebody else that could probably be potentially a threat in another breath. So all the way for Chavez.
I'll take Froome then.
Sounds good.
I'll take Froome.
Sounds good.
I'll have Froome to defend his title. But it's certainly Froome versus Chavez, and it's going to be fun for us to see and for you to hold on.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it'll be a good test, and like I said, I'll be ready for Normandy come 20th of March. But this is definitely an opportunity you can't pass up. I've always wanted to do Sun Tour, and with the national team, that's going to be really cool. It's a good group of guys, and hey, it's bike racing. It's easy for me. It's a dream. I get to wake up tomorrow morning, fly to Australia, race, and then come home. Which I think a lot of European riders will never quite understand the extent that we go to when we come overseas. But that not being a dig, it's just I love riding a bike. So
yeah, well,
this is the dream for me at the moment.
Well, best of luck with the race.
Cheers, Dan.
I hope you find some good legs. And then when you're back over in Britain, when do you?
1st of March it looks like. So Madison will have our team launch on the 4th of March at Ice Bike, and should be Milton Keynes. And then from there we will have a training camp with the boys, get going, the new equipment, everything like that. And then 20th March the season kicks off. So bigger calendar, a bit more international racing and everything here, which of course will all be made public come March. But it's going to be a big season for the team, and through a few things we've had a lot more opportunities come our way, so it's exciting. Hence why I've been a bit more patient this time.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much for taking time out to do this, and best of luck with the race.
Cool, cheers. Thank you, David. Bye.
Cheers, Taylor.